Good afternoon, podcast listeners. Thank you for joining the Travel Insider. I'm Kat Johnson, your host, and I'm happy today to welcome Richard from Globus Family of Brands. Thanks for being with us today, Richard.
Kat, it's a pleasure to be here with you today.
I'm super excited to talk about Globus. I think you guys have some amazing history in travel, and you have some really, really cool itineraries. So I'm really excited to get into it. Do you want to tell us a little bit about the Globus Family of Brands for people who might not have heard of you?
Sure, absolutely. Well, the Globus Family of Brands actually is celebrating 96 years in
Wow.
business this year, Kat. We have an interesting history. We're owned and operated by the same family that started 96 years ago, and our original owner started transporting cargo across Lake Lugano in Switzerland in a rowboat. And then one day he started to say, well, why don't I just start transporting guests across Lake Lugano? And on a spring day in 1928, that's when Globus started. So a lot of history when you look at the company. But what's great about it is it's still privately owned and operated by that same family. When you look at our Globus family of brands today, especially on the touring side, we do river cruising and touring, but with touring, we pretty much offer about just under 500 tours in
Wow.
71 countries. So a lot of opportunity for escorted touring these days when you look at the amount of options that we do have for clients out there. Yeah.
Absolutely. And you guys don't just focus on families or incentive groups. You guys really, you appeal to solo travelers, you appeal to all different types of travelers.
Yeah, we're really proud that we're dedicated to providing a travel style and an itinerary for all travelers out there, Kat. Who is touring these days? Who is on the escorted touring uh, market these days? So, in marketing terms, they call them baby boomers, they call them Gen Zers. We see a lot of multi-generational traveling these days. We see the grandparents, the parents, and the kids traveling because they're curious minded. They really want to gauge in the culture and the history. But there's a big market in the United States of single travelers. And we see a lot of singular travelers that are really participating in escorted touring because, they're able to build relationships while they're touring and still feel comfortable, but see the world, within a group experience as well. So there are a lot of opportunity for all different ages and types of travelers out there with Globus Family of Brands.
And one of the benefits of taking a tour is really just being able to immerse yourself in the culture and in the places that you get to go to. I know Globus does it really, really well. You guys offer many different types of tours. Do you want to talk a little bit
Yeah,
about what those are?
sure. So, when you look at touring, Kat, I think you have to look at really kind of three things. You have to look at the ease of planning a tour. Our CEO just shared with us that if you type in Italy, something like 2.6 billion searches came up.
Right.
So when you look at Globus, all the logistics are taken care of, all the planning is taken care of for your clients. When you look at the value of touring, we have long-standing relationships with hoteliers and travel companies around the world. So we're able to lock in those very favorable rates and pass them on to your clients as well. And then, of course, when you look at touring in general, it's about the experience. We have tour guides that have been with us about a minimum of 15 years, and they're all educated in these destinations. And on the experience side, your clients may experience truffle hunting in Italy with a dog farmer and his dog. Right here in our backyard in Arizona at Antelope Slop Canyon, you have a tour with a Navajo guide. In Iceland, you can prepare a meal with a chef with the heat of a geyser. So our tour guides really take you to places that the guidebooks and the internet really can't show what the experience is about. Yeah,
And so,
absolutely.
absolutely. And so, if you're looking, I mean, a lot of times when I think of a tour, I might think of a bus full of people or three buses full of people. But one of
Yeah.
the nice things about Globus is that you really allow your guests to travel in small groups.
Yeah, so when you look at our touring portfolio, Kat, we have a touring style for everyone. We have classic Globus tours that carry on average about 38 guests. We have undiscovered tours where we're going to take your clients off the beaten path, less crowds, less noise. Maybe they've been to Rome and Venice and they want to really experience Italy a little bit differently. Less crowds, less noise. So they can go out of Sorrento and Naples and go over to the heel of the boot and visit Bari and Lecce and these small communities there as well. So undiscovered tours for repeaters. And then another really popular touring is called our Independence by Globus, Cat. This is where your clients don't want to travel with a group at all, but still want the support of a host and a guide. So let's look at Barcelona and Madrid, for example. So they go into Barcelona, they're met with a host at the hotel, they have all the logistics taken care of, but they're off on their own. They have the Go app with all the information in there. They have recommendations on meals and dining areas to go. But again, they're off on their own. They have the support of the local host. And on that last day, the host is going to meet them at the hotel, take them to the train. Off to Madrid they go, and they experience the same thing. So you've got touring with classic, you've got undiscovered, you've got independence. And now we're really excited because just a couple months ago, we introduced a new type of touring called small group travel. And this comes on the heels of a lot of our guests looking for a little bit more elevated experience and more intimate experience. We in Europe, we hold about 15 guests on average, and outside of Europe, we carry about 18 guests on average. So they're really designed for the small group travel experience.
And are you creating these small groups, or if I have, 12 family members that I want to bring with me, am I creating the group, or how does that work?
No, great question. So what we've done is we've built these 50 tours that we have, 50 tours from the ground up. And so we're going to take care of all logistics and planning for the small group. And what's great about these is with the smaller groups, the goal is to offer more personalized attention from our tour directors that create those real wow moments, but really ensuring that it's a tailor-made experience for small groups that larger groups don't have access to a lot of these places.
And now each
Yeah.
of these groups is going to have their own tour guide. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Have their own tour guide. And really what we're focusing on with small groups, Kat, is three things, three real points of distinctions. Unique accommodations. So we're going to be providing your clients with boutique style, unique type of accommodations. Here's some examples. In captivating Spain, we're going to stay at the Alhambra Palace Hotel. It's synonymous with luxury, overlooking the city of Granada. In enchanting Italy, we're going to be staying in the Tuscan region in a 14th century monastery, overlooking the Tuscan region. We've got our Splendors of Africa, where guests will actually go on a river safari.
Wow.
And they'll be on a houseboat on the Chobe Princess, which is like their own private houseboat, just carrying 8 guests, but all the modern conveniences there. And then one of the things that I really like on the accommodation side is right here in the majestic Montana and Yellowstone. Your clients will be able to stay in these luxurious tents we call glamping, where they have all the modern convenience of home, but they step outside of their tents and they've got the beautiful mountains and the Yellowstone River right there. So those are the type of accommodations we're looking at the small group travel.
And then
Another
point. I was just going to ask, when you talk about accommodations, which sound amazing, are meals and your transportation included in your small groups as well?
Sure. On the Globus side, so the Globus with the small group travel here, we do include all breakfasts and some lunches and dinners, just depending on the tour. So it's up to you to advise your clients on what tour the meals are included, but and all transportation as well. We're going to meet the guests at the airport. We can book the air for them, or you can book the air for them as well. But what we're really excited also is we are allowing more exclusive excursions for your clients. So on average, we're going to have 14 special interest, special features, about 2 per day. And I really like some of these exclusive excursions, Kat, because they're really neat. I don't know if you ever watched the James Bond movie For Your
Yeah.
Eyes Only. Oh, did you see that? Okay, do you remember James Bond? He had the famous getaway in a little, they call the Citroen 2CV car. It's otherwise known as the Tin Snail. Well, in Paris, on our Paris and Provence tour, your clients can have their own private getaway in that little Citroen 2CV around Paris, just the guide and them as well.
That's so cool.
Yeah, we have going back to Iceland. Iceland's a really popular destination.
Yeah.
So we're going to be going on a around the islands and embark on what's called a Viking sushi tour. So we're going to be dredging the ocean for fresh shellfish, and we're going to be bringing up some that can be eaten right there on the boat as we're doing a
Wow.
Viking tour right there. In Rathburn and India, Arconic India, we're going to go on looking for the elusive Bengal tiger. So our operations team has really come up with some really neat types of excursions for your clients on these small group discoveries. Yeah.
Awesome. So you talked about a couple different places. Do your tours hit every continent? Are they primarily in Europe, or are you all over?
Yes. Great question. So the 50 tours on the small group, Cat, will be focusing on Asia. Japan is a really popular destination right now.
Oh,
Japan, we get into Cambodia as well, and Vietnam. We have South America. We have North America right here in our backyard. We have Europe. We have Australia. So pretty much 6 continents that we're going to be going to with these small group discoveries, and it's really popular. It's important to know we've always had what's called small group departures that carry up to 24 guests. So with the addition of small group discoveries, when you look at the Globus touring portfolio, the majority of our tours going forward are dedicated to that small group experience. So again, it's just a trend we're seeing. Not all clients are looking for small groups. Our classic Globus tours are really what put us on the map. But this is just an addition to our already popular portfolio of touring.
I really love it. I think that being in a small group, you can get into destinations and places that you might not be able to get to in a large group. You probably have more opportunity to spend in the places that you're at because of the smaller group size. And then also being able to stay at some of these unique places and do some of these unique tours that you mentioned. It actually sounds fabulous. Sounds like something I would love to do. How would our guests know if it's something that they would like to do? Who would small groups appeal?
It's like I just said, going back to who's looking at touring, that boomer audience, mature audience, just someone that really wants to engage in the destination, but more in a small group environment and atmosphere. And I always suggest, your team over at Expedia Cruises, your air, land, and sea experts, always reach out to your advisors because they're knowledgeable about Globus Family of Brands, about small group discoveries, and they can guide them in the right direction on choosing the right vacation for them. So, that would be the next step, is contacting your team and booking their next Globus Family of Brands vacation.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for spending time with me today. You made me really, really want to travel in a small group, because especially that tour of Iceland, being able to find your own sushi and eat it right there, that sounds incredible. So thank you so much for being with us today, Richard. Hopefully you can come back again and talk to us some more. You have a lot of knowledge. And if anybody's interested in booking the Globus tour, they can obviously reach out to their Expedia Cruises of OVC agent. So thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you, Kat. Appreciate your time. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye.